All right, good morning, good afternoon, or good evening. Whatever time it is when you hear this message, I pray that you are poised to receive, to accept, and to respond to words of wisdom. Ashe. Today belongs to Oromila Ekuojuawo. I pray that your OB has been accepted and that the divinities have done their part to remove all obstacles from your path. Ashe. Today, we performed our morning devotion bright and early, as always, and we are blessed and fortunate to have received some really illuminating lessons from the Orisha. And so I want to share some of those lessons with you. I want to share a distilled summary of the lessons with you with the hopes of helping you to find your way in this landscape of recovering our ancestral memory and delivering on the ancestral promise. And one of the things that came to mind when I was reflecting on the lessons was the preponderance of this idea of spirituality. It keeps coming up again and again and again and again. And I started to think about why this use of spirituality as a concept is so problematic. And it brought me back to my days in the Black Gnostic community, more specifically the Aquarian Spiritual Center in Los Angeles, under the guidance of the very capable and wise Dr. Lagan. And the benefit of being a part of the Aquarian Spiritual Center was that they were scholars. It was a very well disciplined, well organized system of study and practice. All right, and so one of the main principles, if you will, of Black Gnosticism was the discovery of and the tracing of what they call the golden thread. The golden thread is like that organizing principle that unites many different traditions, right? And so when you see the golden thread, then it puts everything into order, and you get to understand how Buddhism and Taoism and Christianity and Islam and Hinduism and all these different traditions fit into a single puzzle, right? They all play a different part, and they say different things from different perspectives to give you an understanding of a single principle or a single reality. All right. So the golden thread, just as one unifying principle, is one of the, I will call it, a mental exercises that a Gnostic practitioner would utilize to inform what you would call spirituality, right? So the difference is that the layperson today will say spirituality, and you'll say spirituality juxtaposed against religion, for example. Someone will say, I'm not religious, I'm spiritual, meaning I'm not limited to this one tradition or this one religious practice, but I am looking for the golden thread, even though they won't say it that way. They'll just say, I'm spiritual. But what they mean to say is that I know there's truth in all. I know that there is truth and there's divinity within me. And I can follow that truth through my own intuitive path, et cetera, et cetera. I get it. I get it. And there's a real truth to that, but it's limited because as a Gnostic, when you start saying different terms, when you start talking about different practices, when you're studied, you'll know that this practice comes from Hinduism, and that philosophy comes from Taoism, and this belief comes from Christianity, and this is a Rosicrucian practice, and this is something that Theosophy introduced. You follow what I'm saying? You know the sources of it. Think of it like language. If you speak English, French, Spanish, German, and you know some Latin, when people are talking, you know the original context for the word. You know what it means at its root, right? So it isn't just the vocabulary word that people are throwing out according to whatever pop, slang or modern interpretation of it is. You know the source of those words. I hope you understand where I'm coming from. People who don't know will insist upon spirituality as a general concept, but lose sight of the fact that everything must be actionable in order for it to become real. You got to be able to do it. You got to be able to do it. And if you can't do it, then you're deluding yourself, basically. If you can't do it, it remains hypothetical, right? And if you're going to do it with other people, it's got to be somehow organized. There have to be some agreements about what you're doing, right? That's just a fundamental, you know what I mean, baseline of relationship. Two people are having a conversation. Two people are engaging in an activity. They're dancing, they're singing, they're cooking, whatever. We've got to have some agreement about where we meet. Otherwise, right, nothing is actually happening between us. So when it comes to your spirituality, the same is true. At some level, we've got to have agreement about what we're doing. I've got to agree with what you're doing. You can't just tell me that you're doing this. I got to be experiencing something similar with you. Otherwise, you ain't doing what you say you're doing. Otherwise, I ain't doing what I say I'm doing. And so at the moment that we're doing it together, it's religion, y'all. It's religion, right? Because spirituality is like raw experience. Spirituality is like energy. It is formless. It is everywhere. It is beyond true definition. Right? If you go to the physicists, they'll tell you we don't really have a definition for energy. We just can tell you how energy behaves under certain circumstances. Well, in a very real way, spirituality is synonymous with that. We can't really define spirituality until it is expressed, right? And so let me back up a little bit and say, I know that this is hitting the button for a lot of people. We start getting to the insistence upon order and structure when it comes to something as primal as spirituality. People react. And I know why you react. Part of the reason why you react is that, we are recovering from this 500-year religious hangover, colonization and it being infused with Christianity or Catholicism or Islam. It has done a number on us, and we have been turned inside out and upside down. So we say, I don't want anything to do with religion, but that's not religion. That is Christianity. That is Catholicism. That is Islam. That's not religion as a whole. We can't lump all religions together because of what those religions have done. There are over 4,000 religions in the world today. There are over 4,000 religions today. You can't possibly make those blanket kinds of generalizations about religion without studying at least 1,000 of them. You don't have enough lifetimes to go through them all. So it's better to just be specific about, hey, Islam and Christianity did us dirty. I don't want to participate in that, right? But I know as a mature adult that what I need to do is communal, right? Because you end up practicing meditation one way, and then having your diet another way, and then your physical education, physical education, your exercise, you do it in another way, and then you entertain yourself in another way, and then you choose a spouse in another way, and you raise your children in another way, and then you name yourself and your children in another way. You end up with, it's just a skitter scatter mess. It's just a mess. And it's a mess. And you're doing everything you can to cobble this thing together. And it doesn't make sense. It can't make sense because you are effectively speaking 3, 4, 5, 6 languages with one word of English and one word of Kiswahili and 2 words of German and 1 word of Spanish and another word of Scandinavian. And you're just throwing it together. Nobody can understand what you're talking about. You can't even understand what you're talking about. You can't even remember how all these things fit together and what role this plays and what role that plays over a 25, 35 year period. So it just doesn't work. It's not functional. It's not actionable. You can't operationalize all those things that's just thrown together, right? What you need is a healthy relationship to a religion that is congruent with your culture. You need a healthy relationship with a religion that's congruent with your lineage, with your ancestry. You need to practice a religion that's congruent with your own personal worldview and that allows you enough freedom to be you and express yourself in a way that is also harmonious with the people who matter most in the causes that matter most in your life. Right? Now, in my case, this has come through Yoruba spirituality. Another person, it might be Akan spirituality. Another person, it may be through, Bakongo spirituality. Right? But all of those are religions. And anybody who tells you that it's not a religion, they just haven't gotten past that phase of the hangover. But once the headache fades a little bit and once their stomach is not upset anymore and their eyes are starting to clear up, they're going to realize, oh, no. It's religion is okay. It's just a question of how you practice religion. Okay? And for what purpose you practice religion. All right. Now, I'm saying this because I've worked with enough people to see their struggle and see how they stagnate themselves because of this resistance to order, resistance of structure. You're resisting the just the acknowledgement that you need somebody to tell you what to do. It's okay. Everybody needs somebody to tell them what to do. We all take direction and instruction from somebody. We all refer back to a recipe that works and has worked over and over and over and over again. Right? There's nothing inherently wrong with that. Right? So the people who insist otherwise, it's okay. But trust me, as you evolve, as you mature, as you take on more and more responsibility, you're going to have a better appreciation for what is really going on with religion. And of course, these are the folks who are the leaders. I'm talking to the leaders. I'm sending this message out to the leaders. If you're somebody who is really ready to help improve the world through positive influence, then I want you to find out how Oloye Obafemi Origuwa and the Orisha Lifestyle Academy can help you take your practice and your life to the highest level possible. Visit me at obafemio.com or orishalifestyle.com and let's start working together to help you live the medicine that will heal your life and heal the lives of those who you are destined to serve. I look forward to working with you. Bye for now. Odabo.